Good day. For this section video, we're going to be planting out the rutabaga that I planted in a 200 cell flat. I think for these it would be best to do it similar to the way we did the onions and poke them all out and put them in a tray, and then bring the tray out and put them in the planting holes afterwards. Because these are spindly, I want to make sure that I lay them out in the tray so that they won't get entangled when I go to take them out in the garden and plant them in their holes. I'm going to take every one that's up and open You see, as I was saying when I was planting these, that rutabaga and beetsnet, they have a more extensive root system than the carrots. I didn't see any of this with carrots. So I accidentally pulled one out. I'm going to try and set it and see if it grows. I have 56 sets here. 120 goes in a bed. I'll go out and I'll set these in, and then I'll come back in any of the areas where I took the sets out. I will put in a new seed. And since I only got one seed per cell, I think I will reset the entire 200 cell flat now. Rutabaga are spaced 6 inches apart, so I just use 3 pieces of pipe both ways. I had to tape up my dibber because the wood was fraying, and I think that was part of the reason why, as I was getting along with the carrots, it was becoming more and more difficult to get the hole to stay nice. I'll do 3 this side. I'll bring you right in close so that you can see how that I put the seedling quite deep, you see. I'll show you on the dibber. And it does seem to be holding up better. I've got the hole down that deep. And then I take a long spindly seedling like this, and I'll drop them right down there. I just put rough compost on this one because the compost was wet and I was getting not so happy with what I was doing at the time. These are the sugar beets. Because sugar beets grow so large, you space them out 8 inches. I have 91 plugs here that will fill in the space that I have allotted on the plan for sugar beets. So I won't have to plant any more seeds once I get these out and out in the garden. Sugar beets, they transplanted decently well last year when I was thinning them out. So doing it this way, they should certainly take and grow nicely over the summer season. With them out of the plug tray and spread out, easier to count them. 94. Well, look what I found. The robins made a nest. I'll show you. You see that little bit of grass hanging down in the corner of the heave there? So they have a nest in there. And this egg I just found on the bed, the garden bed there. So I would assume it's a squirrel robbed the nest. Now I'm going to set out this bed here is a full bed of sugar beets, and this one up on the far end there's a type of bean that I'm going to put up there, so that one will be 3/4 full of sugar beets, and I've got to lay this egg somewhere. Right. Oh, there's another one. It's been broken open. Definitely a squirrel. And because the plugs are so small, I should be able to just go just like that. So I'll lay them all out in the dents and then I'll go back and tuck them in. I had to bring you in for a bit because a shower came by. I've got them set and watered now. Don't know if you can see the beets there or not. But I've got something special to set. And the bed where the asparagus is not quite full. So I'm going to set it over there. These, I saved 3. You see, this is a sugar beet from last year. But only 2 come. The reason being, I didn't think about it when I was harvesting them. And I cut all the tops off, and this is where the buds are for them to resprout. And the other one I had cut down too far. There are some radishes growing up in here. So I'm not going to worry my little self about that. I need a shovel. There's the root system. And if you remember from last year, the other beets, they grow up and flop over. So this year I'm going to put a tomato cage over them and hopefully prevent that, or at least reduce it. Dull and rather calm, so I can actually see the screen today. This bed is our regular red beets, Detroit dark red. Of course, I'm going to make my row drills first. I've got one growing there. I don't think it's a radish. I'm going to have to wait till it gets a little bigger. Now, I have 58 plugs, and for the Detroit dark red, I spaced them at 4 inches. So that will give me, because I say these beds are 3 feet, but actually they could be narrower. So how many do I get in a row? That's 9 in a row, 7 rows. After I'm done that, because this is actually setting time for beets, I'm going to show you another idea that I was thinking of before, and I already alluded to in an earlier video. So that's 7 rows. I'll just lay out my plugs now. We had a heavy rain last night, so I won't even have to water these in. The ground is soaking wet. So that's 58 plugs, more than 58 beets, because as you know, some of them will produce more than one beet. You know about this, I showed you this in just a couple of videos ago, and of course you know about the little packet that I have on my side. I have a bunch of beet seed in here. You see? So I was thinking over during the winter, how am I going to set out things like beets and turnip and that, so that at the very least it's easy to thin them out. Normally when you're doing drills like this, the easiest way to set the seed would be to take quite a few in your hand and dribble them along the row. With this pipe I have here, I can reach all the way across the row, and the beet seeds are big enough to take one at a time. And I can drop them down every 4 inches. It's no trouble, I'm standing up, so it's not hard on my back or anything. It might take a little longer, but not much. Rutabaga seed and turnip seed would be just as easy to do. And I have the one bed done with plugs. I'll do another bed now like this, and I'll see which does better. Most of them are actually getting covered up because when I lift up the pipe I move the soil. Apparently putting them a little closer because I planted 11 seeds across that row. Seeds are still falling out, but it would be a good idea once in a while, especially with wet soil, to make sure your end of your pipe is clean. I'm sowing some rutabaga now. I'll sow them maybe every 2 inches. They'll still be easy to thin out. And when they get big enough for turnip greens, then I'll harvest. I leave one, harvest two, leave one, and then I got them 6 inches apart. Providing they all sprout, that is. I set some carrots among the strawberries like I said I would. You can take the seed and watch them go right down the pipe. Can't see it so good with the rutabaga, but with the carrots where they were lighter, you could see it zigzag down the pipe. About a third of this bed in the center I'm doing because I was trying to spread out the beans so that I can save some beans for seed stock for next year. I had to take a third of the bed that I was going to fill out with rutabaga. Exactly 1 seed every 2 inches. And no pain on your back. This being sifted compost, I just put this nozzle on shower, and when I go back and forth it'll move the compost enough to cover up those seeds. So, give these lettuces some water. And what do I have in the back here? Lactino kale.